Laser sights can deter threats and aid in quick target identification, enhancing your ability to protect your family, home, and country. Crimson Trace, making laser sights standard equipment. Learn more at crimsontrace.com.
The number one national voice in defense of your Second Amendment rights. Gun Talk, available on iTunes and on the free GunDealio smartphone app for Android and iPhone. To be on the air with Tom, call us now, 866-825-5486 or 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. Now, here's Tom.
Okay, we're still not Tom. That hasn't changed. But I'm still Jim Kenzie, and I'm still with Michelle Cleland. Hi, Michelle.
Hi.
So, 2 hours under your belt, huh?
Shoo, yeah.
Going faster than I thought it would, huh?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. If you're not familiar with our voices, Michelle and I do the After Show with Tom, which is a podcast version of the show. After we do 3 hours of the national show every week, we get together and kind of let our hair down a bit, and we do a podcast version of the show. But since Tom's playing hooky today, we call him part-time from now on. Since he's out hunting in Argentina, he's given us the reins. So we're taking the reins and running with it, having a good time. And we're asking you to please give us a buzz and tell us what's your favorite three-gun combo, pistol, rifle, shotgun. Not for any particular thing. It doesn't have to be for competition or value. Just what do you like? Because everybody's got their own thing. And we're going to go a couple different directions today. We were talking earlier about holsters and drawing and the importance of it. Well, if you know anything about holsters, and we hope you do by now, you probably have a box of them like we do.
Right.
But you'll know the name Milt Sparks. And if somebody says Milt Sparks, your ears pick up, then you obviously know about holsters. Joining us today is Jim Wall from Milt Sparks. Hey, Jim, how are you?
Good morning, Jim, or good afternoon, Jim, and good afternoon, Michelle. Thanks for having me on.
Well, thanks for joining.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about background of Milt Sparks before we get into it with you.
Sure. Be glad to talk about what I talk about Monday through Friday. So Milt Sparks started in about 1969, and it grew from Milt and his little hobby into a business with employees, and we're here almost coming up on 50 years here in a few years, and we've been providing concealed carry and personal protection holster needs for that time, and it's just growing and doing real well. And we meet a lot of needs for people who are looking to conceal from full size clear down to smaller revolver and semi-autos. So it's been busy right now. We seem to be doing pretty well.
Sure, with the increase of concealed carry options and pistols,
yes,
and more women getting into the field as well. But I have to say, I'm sure that you guys are actually the standard for any other holster company. So everybody that tries to replicate what you do, I think they hold you as the golden standard.
This is as good as a Milt Sparks, honest.
Right. So I guess in going forward here, what type of holsters does your company offer? What are you known for most?
Well, primarily right now, our focus is on the concealment inside the waistband holsters. That's comprised the majority of our business. We do some outside the waistband for full-size semi-auto handguns and revolvers, but boy, it seems like the customers have driven us to do more and more inside the waistband concealment models.
And as far as the options that you have for modern firearms, are you up on the newest models, the new Glocks that are being introduced, the small revolvers, the micro 380s, all that type of firearm and holster available with your company?
We do. We try to partner with these companies, so when a new gun comes out, we try to have a holster ready to go. Like, for instance, when the Glock 43 was introduced, the day it was introduced, we had photos of the holster up on Facebook to let people know, hey, you got a brand new gun, we got a holster to go with it. So we partner with other gun companies and try to have something ready to go for that guy who just, has the new gun and needs to carry it.
And I think that's definitely something that we have seen that's become more aggressive as far as the accessories that go along with the firearm introduction. Being on the retail side, it would be very commonplace to have a gun introduced and then months and months later to have additional accessories available for them. So I think that's a great advancement in our concealed carry and gun movement. I guess a couple of questions that I have for you is, as far as holsters go, we're now in the changeover of winter into spring. Soon upon us is going to be summer. Do you see a lot of changes in holstering or in options that people convert to?
Well, not so much as a lot of changes, but I think this time of year seems to really focus on handgun purchases more than it may be other times of the year. This is, it's starting to be T-shirt weather here in Idaho, so guys are not able to carry that full-size Beretta or SIG with an external holster, and they'll move to maybe scale it down to a smaller gun, maybe a Smith & Wesson Shield or a Walther PPS. So they'll pick something that's brings that concealment down to a deeper level. So they'll move inside the waistband, go to a smaller gun, just like you're saying. They're looking to kind of minimize and not have that heavy garment to rely on. They'll have, a little bit smaller profile handgun to conceal. So yeah, that's right.
You said that you folks really focus on the IWB products, and but you do make OWB. And
sure.
you also make belts, which I'm sure a lot of folks aren't aware of, but will be now. Explain a little bit why it's a whole system, because I think the belt gets overlooked probably more than anything else. It's like, well, I've got a belt I bought at Target. It's an inch thick, it's fine. Tell me while I'm full of beans on that. Tell me why that doesn't fly.
Well, the belt is the platform that everything that you're attaching your personal defense equipment to, it needs to be something that supports the weight well, that doesn't fail. It needs to be there and long-lasting and provide that extra level. And probably one of the most important things is the comfort. A belt that is made from the same quality of leather, in which ours are. We don't use a different type of leather, per se, on the belts. We use the same high-quality American tannage that goes into our holsters in our belts. So it's not something that gets soft over time. It holds up really well to everyday, 18-hour-day wear. We use a solid brass buckle and solid brass Chicago screws. You don't have the holes that stretch out and get smaller, and you don't have that weird curve that your belt takes on after time, because we cut our belts on the curve. So when you get a Milt Sparks belt and you lay it out, it already has a curve to it that a straight belt will adopt over time. It kind of gets that kink in the back of the pants where that belt loop is. Right. Rides high over the hips and then down lower in the front. So if you engineer a belt to already be formed, it's going to be a lot more comfortable. You can't just make a belt heavy out of heavy leather and still expect it to last. Just because it's heavier doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a better belt. We try to make ours maybe a little bit thinner, but the quality of the leather is what stands out. It makes it last a long time. It's comfortable, and it's, like I said, it's the basis of the carrying the gun and spare magazines too.
Now, I was talking to a buddy of mine who's very familiar with your products, and he told me something. I'm like, really? And so I'm going to ask you directly.
Sure.
What is the testing process you folks use on your products? He was telling me that you folks actually, before you release them to the public, you guys actually wear them and try them out. What's the background there?
Well, that's great, and I'm glad you brought that out, because one of the features of our staff is we all carry guns all the time. We're people who wear them for our personal protection. We compete with them, we train with them, and use them hard. We want to make sure that when we bring a product out for our customers to use, that we've tested it, we've been hard on it. We want to know if it's going to fail, if we need to tune this or that. It's pretty painstaking. It takes weeks, months to refine a pattern that's acceptable for our customers. We we put it through the works. It's not just something that's done on a weekend and for sale on Monday. So there's a lot of design work and engineering that goes into something so small and simple.
Well, that way your customer's not doing your beta testing. When they get something, they know it's tried and true at that point, even though it's brand new.
We want them to. We want them to take it out of the bag when they get it and put it on and wear it. And sometimes it will break in, but we don't want them to have to discover there's a flaw in it at that point. We do that ourselves.
Awesome.
Well, and that's where I was going to go with that, I guess, would be my question to you, Jim. What kind of break-in is there to your holsters? Because if you already go through all of that and it's already pre-molded, that's going to cut that time considerably.
We mold right on the gun, so we use either the actual firearm or an exact duplicate of the firearm. And, leather is a material that can stretch a little bit with water and fit it so that it looks just exactly like the particular gun, so that it'll retain the gun. But, there is some break-in that occurs over time. If it's a little snug, we can use a bag process where we just loosen it slightly. But a lot of guys just put it on and they'll call and say, this fits like a glove. Just fits my gun perfect. And if it's a little snug, we got a day, maybe two, to break it in. And the customer, a lot of times we'll just tell them to go to the range and do some drawing and some practicing, or just wear it around the house for a day. That takes care of 99% of tight holster issues.
Now, so if anybody's interested in your products, and I'm sure they are, they can go to miltsparks.com. That's MILTSPARKS, Milt Sparks, and see your whole lineup. You guys have made the VersaMax 2 for a while, and it seems other manufacturers will make something. This is as good as a VersaMax. That's pretty much like the ultimate flattery for you guys, isn't it?
It is. You can look around and see what would be a nice way to put it, the flattery of the imitators, but it's been a great holster. It adapts to so many different handguns, from the little SIG P238s clear up to the P30 H&K. So it is one of those holsters that has just fulfilled the inside of the pants concealment needs really well. And one of the great things about the VM2, and a lot of times we're not doing the best job of promoting this, is that's a holster that can be tucked in. You can, with the ability of our additional Kydex clips, it attaches to the waistband. Your belt goes through the loops. You can take a shirt and tuck it in over a full-size 1911 or Glock 19, and then you have your shirt that is tucked inside your waistband, but still concealing that gun. To draw, you pull the shirt out, just untuck it with your support hand or your primary, and there you go.
Wow, that's cool.
Well, in the world of CCW and training, and as we talked with our previous guest, the ability to draw is crucial. So getting the clothes out of the way and, all those different options is something that you have to take into consideration when purchasing or finding the holster.
Yes, Michelle, that's true. And one of the criteria that we factor into manufacturing our holsters is being able to establish the firing grasp in the holster. In other words, when you put on one of our holsters, we want it to be made so that when you draw the gun, you can present it without having to shift your grip or fumble or do anything. You just pull it out and it's ready to go. And I see a lot of holster designs that are deep or they're awkward, and they don't allow you that immediate response to a threat. In other words, you can look at it and say, man, you can't really get that gun out, nor could you holster it with one hand without looking at it too. So a couple of things there that we make sure that is built into every holster.
And I guess one of the things that I always try to concentrate on in the retail side of the world that I live in, we have many women coming in wanting to find a holster with their firearm. And we have a hard time at times matching up a holster and a female. So any of your line that is gender specific for women?
Well, I have noticed there's been quite a few more ladies that have been purchasing our product. So it is kind of an individual basis, based on body type and where they're going to wear it and the size of the handgun they're likely to use. For years and years, we had still do offer the PMK revolver holster, and for ladies that are using like an LCR or a J-frame, that's just been a fantastic holster. The initials PMK are our current owner's wife's name. So he designed that for his wife. So that's Paula's holster. So that's where the initials come from. So not every gal is carrying a revolver, but if she's carrying something small, we've even adapted that particular holster to small autos too.
Awesome.
Jim Wall from Milt Sparks, thanks so much for stopping by Gun Talk today. I'll tell you one thing, your holsters are awesome, and they're not cheap or inexpensive, if you follow me. They are a high-quality product, but when your life depends on it, you don't want to go cheap. So thanks again, Jim, for stopping by.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Michelle. Nice to talk to you guys.
Yeah, take care.
Take care. All right, we're going to take a real short pause here, but Dustin and James, don't go anywhere. You're next up on the big hit parade here on Gun Talk.
Smith & Wesson brings 10 years of development to your holster with the new enhanced M&P M2.0 semi-auto pistol. In 940 and 45 with a crisp and lighter trigger pull, the M2.0 has aggressive texture for a great grip, extended stainless steel chassis for rigidity, and 4 palm swell grip inserts for a perfect fit. The remarkable M&P, even better in version 2.0. See it at smith-wesson.com.
If you're like me, you don't have money to burn, but you still want to buy guns, ammo, and accessories. That's why we created GunDealio. That's a free smartphone app. Just download it and start getting the deals. Could be discounts, offers of free magazines for your gun, or you could be the first to hear about new stuff from gun makers. Here's how it works. With GunDealio on your phone, you get alerts when you enter a gun store. Special deals, you know. You don't have to do a thing. It'll do a lot of other cool things, like let you watch gun videos and listen to Gun Talk podcast. Plus, check it anytime for hundreds of deals and offers. Getting more while spending less. Smart, huh? GunDealio. Made in America. Gluten-free. At the App Store and Google Play or GunDealio.com.
Responsible owners control access to their firearms, even when they may need them in a hurry. Liberty Safe, the nation's leader in gun safes, offers 6 models of handgun vaults. Strong, simple to use, open with a key or fingerprint. Put your handgun in the compact vault, lock it away until you need it. Then it's in your hand almost instantly. Pick the Liberty Safe handgun vault that's right for you. LibertySafeHD.com.
Well, Michelle, they haven't tossed us off the air yet.
No.
There's no henchman at the door.
Right? Tom's still duct taped, can't call in.
Yeah, so that's a good thing, evidently.
Yeah.
If you're just tuning in, this is Jim Kenzie and Michelle Cleland from the After Show, which is normally broadcast after the regular show. And we've just been given the reins here today to fill in for Tom while he's out doing his thing. So I'm going to take this opportunity to thank some folks of my shooting past that I probably haven't had a chance to do before. So I'm gonna rattle through these names real quick. Stomach it with me, won't you? Ian Cornell, Todd Hill, Tony Nam, Kevin Russell, Chuck Gabor, Will Liu, John Purdy, Scott Bilo, and most of all, Fred Monjubi. Thanks so much for everything you've done to get me into the shooting sports. Obviously, Tom's at the top of that list because he got me way back when to start carrying again. I had carried back in Detroit when I worked in a retail store because I didn't want to die for somebody else's money. But then when I got out of that, for some reason, I just didn't see the need. And then I was woke up. Tom awoke me. So that's a little bit of my background, and I won't bore you with any more of that, but I will go to James, who's in Oregon, who's got a question about a DB scale we talked about a couple shows back. How's it going, Jim?
Not bad. How's yourself?
We're having fun, man.
I want to talk about the DB scale because there's a lot of misinformation out there.
Okay.
I've been using it for over 50 years in electronics.
Right.
And if you go up, say, from 20 dB to 30 dB, that's an order of magnitude in power increase times 10.
Right.
And every time you go up 10 dB, it's another order of magnitude in power.
Correct.
So if you have a sound pressure level of 90 dBs, it's a ratio of 1 billion to 1. 0 dB in electronics is referred to as 1 milliwatt, 1/1000th of a watt.
Right. Your reference?
Yep. That's your reference, because there's no such thing as zero sound. There's always some sound there. You might not hear it, but it's there. So you can go negative in the dB scale.
Okay.
If you go down, say you have a noise reduction rating of 29 dB, and you find another earplug that goes up, has a sound pressure level rating of 32 dB, that's times 2. It's twice as much energy that it can handle with attenuation.
Correct. So work this into how it affects shooters and kind of bring this home for us, James.
No problem.
Okay. Or not. Let's head out to appreciate the tech talk there. I think you're probably above most people's heads. But you're all right. There's a scale, and it affects hearing, which once we damage it, we don't get it back. So I think the bottom line to that whole thing would be, let's protect your hearing. If you can get something that has a better dB rating of attenuation or cut, you definitely want to go with that. Now we're going to head out to North Dakota and talk to Dustin. Dustin, what's happening with this old rifle of yours?
All right. Well, I'm trying to identify this bloody thing. It's chambered in a 300 Savage. It's not on I've had a couple of different gunsmiths look for me, and it's not in the Blue Book of Guns, but it's a Remington Game Master Model 760. It's got a flash suppressor. It's clip, pump action, clip loaded. But was Savage an actual chambered itself back then? Because I know it's around the late 20s is when this thing was made, and it kicks like a bloody mule.
Well, normally I would suggest you go to the Blue Book of Gun Values, but I see in my call screener notes you've already done that. We have one of the most technical folks I've ever met standing by in the studio here, Chad Cleveland. We've got a break we're up against hard. We're going to try to get that answer to you, Dustin, on the opposite side of this break. So stay tuned if you would. And for the rest of you, give us a call at Tom Talk Gun. We're still trying to find out what three-pack you're interested in, if you're a rifle, pistol, and shotgun. So give us a buzz, and we'll go through that. We've got another guest coming up talking about guns in schools. So that's pretty important stuff. Hang with us here on Gun Talk. We'll be back in a bit.
Sign up for our Gun Talk newsletter and join the Truth Squad at www.guntalk.com. Now, back to Gun Talk with Washington Times opinion page regular contributor Tom Gresham.
Oh, sure, he can contribute. He can contribute regularly.
He hasn't today.
He hasn't. Notice
Not
that?
for us.
Part-timer, didn't show up for work. Hey, we had Dustin. This is Gun Talk, by the way, if you're just tuning in. You missed a heck of a show so far. We had a call from Dustin in North Dakota who had a question about a rifle that we couldn't answer, but through the miracle of Chad Cleland's brain, who is our technical consultant on Gun Talk today, we have an answer. Michelle, what's up with Dustin's rifle?
So he was trying to figure out who the manufacturer may have been, and it can get very confusing because different companies develop cartridges and they named them after themselves, since 45 ACP automatic Colt pistol. In his case, he was talking about a 300 Savage. Savage developed that round, but Remington did produce 760s chambered in a 300 Savage caliber.
Okay.
Now, as far as the flash suppressor, that could have been done aftermarket. I mean, it's a pretty common gun to be used with law enforcement, prison work, that type of thing. So as far as a flash suppressor, I don't have an answer for that. But that gun was actually produced by Remington in a 300 Savage.
Okay. So they'll name the cartridge after their own, kind of like the 327 Cleland.
Yeah, that would have been nice, but Federal beat me to it.
Well, some folks know that we're from the Ohio area, and we say that proudly. And we've got a local guy here who's done something on a national scale, and we wanted to give him a little credit. It actually started a while ago, and I believe it started with the whole Sandy Hook thing, but I'm going to let Dr. Jamie Grimm explain his program and what they did at the Montpelier schools. Hey, Jim, how are you? Good.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us today.
Sure.
So when did you start this program? And let's back up a little bit. What is your program, your safety program?
Well, I think as superintendent here, after watching all these shootings go on and on, I just got to thinking, we have to start doing something different, start thinking outside the box a little bit, I guess if you want to call it that. And essentially what we decided to do was arm school personnel here, and I'll be quite honest with you, when we did it, I really didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal. We live in rural Ohio here, where I would say in our county probably 25% of our residents have their concealed carry license. It's not uncommon here, and but I guess I wasn't ready for the national attention I was going to get. But I guess looking back on things, I'm real happy that we started the conversation, because I think that a lot of schools have followed suit now, and what used to be a very uncommon thing, I think, is becoming more common.
Awesome. Now, when did the program start, Jim?
We started back in March of 2012, so we've been doing it for 4 years now here, and as 4 years have gone by real fast, we've had no incidents here, and our staff is still fully committed to the program and training and doing a great job.
Well, I'm not surprised at all when you said zero incidents. I was going to ask you, there must have been terrible problems. Wrong.
Yeah.
And it all comes down to training. What kind of training did now this isn't just teachers. This could be a janitor or anybody, right?
Yeah, we never really announced who carries here. It's
Right.
never been made public, the names of the people that carry here during the school day. But we partnered with the Tactical Defense Institute out of Southern Ohio and did a lot of training with them, and it did wonders for the people here that are carrying.
So everybody had to go through this training, not just your permit. Yep.
No. Everybody that's carrying went to this training. It was 4 days. It was very intensive. It was one of those that at 8 o'clock you were asleep. I mean, they put you to work, and when you left that class, you thought you were a good shooter and you thought you knew what you were doing, but you came out with a whole new perspective. So
yeah, and that's the idea. I mean, because so many folks, even now, I got my carry permit. I'm trained.
Know everything. Yeah, ready to go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Wrong.
So,
yeah.
Jamie, I just have a question for you from the aspect of, I guess, starting or initiating something like this in other schools. What was your biggest public obstacle to overcome? And was this something that was given to the public and you held meetings with, or how did you go about initialization of that?
Well, we didn't really involve the public much. It was a situation where my Board of Education, myself, and some staff members, we sat down, looked at our safety plan, and tried to figure out, what is the best route to take, and we, I would say this: I have 1,000 kids that go to school here, and 4,000 people live in my community. I received one phone call from somebody that was adamantly against it. I think there were some people that might have had reservations, but I think once we fully explained exactly what the program was going to be and how we were going to roll it out, I think people here, I think I have the trust of the residents here, and I think they put their faith in us to do what was right. So,
well, sure, because ultimately you're just implementing a course of action to ensure their students' safety. And I guess from the aspect of being a parent, did you see any kind of changes in the enrollment or any kind of feedback as far as open enrollment goes?
Yeah, well, I didn't really see, I don't think I had any kids leave or any kids come, but I did have a lot of phone calls from people in other school districts questioning, how can I get this implemented in my school? You know, what phone call should I make to my superintendent or my principal? So I think what happened was once we did it, a lot of our neighboring school districts did the exact same thing. So there wasn't really any need to open and roll out of their school district. But I was able to get the ball rolling on a lot of schools doing this.
Now, did you have any trouble with local law enforcement giving you any guff, or were they helpful?
No, my local police chief at the time was very for it. I mean, he was probably one of the driving forces behind it.
Wow, good.
And I think it was a situation where I have 100% respect for all the law enforcement officers in this country, but I think they'll all tell you that they can't be everywhere when they're needed. And I think that they know if they have responsible citizens that can help them, it's in their best interest too. So
right, it's all about response time. Have you had any additional people come on board than the people that first held up their hand and said, "Pick me, Jamie"? Have more people? Yeah, okay.
Well, not really. I mean, initially we did it with 4 people, and it's still those 4 people. Okay. I get asked that question all the time. Superintendents will call me, well, how do you pick the people? And I tell them all the time that this is a situation where going to a teacher who's never held a gun in their hand and saying, hey, we're going to put a gun in your classroom. I don't think that's a good course of action, but luckily for me, I had some staff members here that had gone through police academy. I had one that was a reserve deputy sheriff. So I had some people already working for me that had a law enforcement background and extensive firearms background. They were just very comfortable with concealed carry to begin with. So
now, is there any kind of signage in the schools that you are protecting your students properly, or is it all low key?
Yeah, it's all low key. I've been to some schools where they have big stickers on the doors that say there are armed people in this school campus, and I don't have an opinion one way or another whether it's right to not announce it, to announce it. I don't.
Yeah, there's a couple schools of thought. I was just curious what you guys what route you took.
Yeah, we don't have any stickers here. I think it's. I always tell people it's the worst kept secret in Montpelier, Ohio. I mean, everybody knows. Everybody knows that we're carrying here, and really everybody knows. I think most people have figured out by now who it is that's carrying, but
right. Well, go ahead,
is there any kind of apprehension on people participating due to additional liabilities that they think they might be taking upon themselves, or does the school take up on any additional liability by having this program in place?
Oh, good question.
Yeah, I mean, the school does take on the liability of this. Our insurance carrier had lots and lots of questions when we implemented this. But I think at the end of the day, if an active shooter walks in a school, there's liability whether you're armed or not armed, and there's no way to get around that. So at that point, you just kind of tell yourself, what do you think's the best thing to do? And
that's problem number 2.
Right.
Yeah, you take care of that down the road. Yeah. Well, Jamie, thanks so much for joining us today on Gun Talk. It's been eye-opening, and hopefully a lot of other school board folks will give a listen. And I mean, their number one responsibility is to protect our kids. And my personal take on this is I don't care how it's stopped. If somebody's bashed on the head with a fire extinguisher, firearm, stapler, doesn't matter what the tool is, and I don't care who protects my kids as long as it gets done. And obviously, you're taking that responsibility on. And a big Gun Talk attaboy to you for that.
Thanks.
All right, thanks for joining us. Take care, Jamie.
You too.
We're going to take a short little pause here, and Michelle's going to rough me up and tell me what I need to do next and kind of guide me through this process. So stick with us. We'll be right back on Gun Talk.
For more than 70 years, Timney Triggers has been enhancing the shooter's experience. Whether it's a local competition, a day at the range, or even the hunt of a lifetime, setting the standard in aftermarket triggers, Timney is now producing more than 170 models of triggers for bolt-action rifles, shotguns, AR rifles, and semi-automatic rifles. Proudly made in the USA since 1946. Find your new trigger at TimneyTriggers.com.
Savage just made the modern sporting rifle better. Available in 4 variations, the MSR-15 Patrol and Recon and MSR-10 Hunter and Long Range. All with 5R rifling for easier cleaning and enhanced accuracy, correct gas system links for reliability and reduced recoil, upgraded trigger system, and corrosion-resistant barrels. Savage MSRs. Better comes standard. See more at SavageArms.com or ask your local gun dealer to see the Savage MSR rifles.
For 36 years, the U.S. Sportsmen's Alliance has been fighting to protect hunting, fishing, and trapping for sportsmen from coast to coast. Today, we are under constant attack from extremist animal rights groups who want to end your ability to hunt in the U.S. Join us to protect our sporting heritage and our way of life outdoors. To join or for more information on how you can help, go to ussportsman.org. That's ussportsman.org.
Alien Gear Holsters, the most comfortable and concealable holsters on the planet, is offering big savings with our new 2-holster combo. Now you can buy 2 complete holsters for as little as $49.88. Choose from any available holster styles and colors for the guns of your choice. All of Alien Gear's quality products are made right here in the USA and include a 30-day trial, forever warranty, and free shell trades for life. Visit aliengearholsters.com today.
The Ruger pistol that started it all is now even better. The Ruger Mark IV has the same great look as the Mark III, but now its simple one-button takedown means less time taking apart your gun and more time shooting it. Disassemble it in seconds for no hassle cleaning. Learn more about the Target, Hunter, and 2245 Light Mark IV series models at Ruger.com. The Ruger Mark IV, another rugged, reliable firearm from Ruger.
Welcome back to Gun Talk. Jim Kenzie along with
Michelle Cleland.
Ta-da!
Yeah, here we are.
Thought you'd get rid of us, didn't you?
They were hoping.
Yeah, no such luck. We're going to head out to Oklahoma just because I'm tired of Ohio. So let's head out to Oklahoma where we have Frank patiently holding. Frank, what's going on with your 1911, buddy?
Well, I've heard you and Tom talk about taking your new guns and having them tuned up at a gunsmith. And I was wondering if my new Ruger 1911S, if I need to do that. Ruger told me I didn't.
Do you have a problem with it?
No.
How's it shoot?
Fantastic.
And why mess with a good thing? I guess my gut feeling.
Well, I just heard y'all talk about, what now I've checked and it don't seem like the rear side has a sharp edge or anything like that. I know y'all suggested to have a gunsmith take sharp edges off if you find any instead of taking a Dremel tool and go to it yourself.
Yeah, that's Tom's advice, but I'm a Dremel tool guy, and I'll end up replacing the sights.
I am too, but I kind of have to back up and think, well.
Well, and I guess being married to a gunsmith, I've seen the other side of it, so I always say, take it to a gunsmith.
You see what's been brought in.
Oh, yeah. So I guess my first question, and you said you didn't have any issues with the gun, is what kind of groups that you're getting. But if it's shooting great, I wouldn't have any concerns with that gun at all. I just keep shooting it and let it be polished itself.
That's what I was going to do.
Yeah.
Now, something I did find out, I thought I'd pass on. I asked, since they came out with the Target one, and I talked to y'all about that before, I asked them about getting a Target barrel for this gun. They said it's the same barrel.
Right.
Yeah, I guess your advice is right. Just shoot the darn thing.
Right.
'Cause that's the best thing you can do. And if you have a problem arise, then you address it at that point. But guns are so good now. I mean, earlier guns, you would have to break them in like crazy. And some of these new guns have triggers that were like trigger jobs of the past. So.
Right. And there are the occasions where you need to take it to a gunsmith to have it polished, but you'll find that when you're out shooting. It's not something that you just know automatically. So take them out and shoot them.
Great. Well, thanks for that call there. And stand by. We got one more little segment for you here on Gun Talk. And the maiden voyage of Jim and Michelle. Isn't that just ducky?
Ooh.
Welcome back to the show formerly known as Tom Gresham's Gun Talk. But now Mom Michelle took over, so...
Yeah, we're going to have to choose a new name.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because the whole Gun Talk media family started with the radio show way back 20-some years ago. And it's grown into, oh boy, DVD series and several TV shows. And
Wait, Jim.
Yes?
There's this voice I hear on my free GunDealio app. It sounds like you, but... maybe just a little more jazz. Do you have an announcer voice?
I could discuss this week on Guns and Gear.
Ooh, better.
It's the fully featured M&P 1522 sport rifle from Smith & Wesson. We'll break clays with the Mossberg 930, etc. There's a bunch of stuff on Guns and Gear. Also, check out Gun Venture this week. They're turning raw materials into they're taking it from the raw materials all the way through to the finished firearm, which is awesome to see how it really happens. And that happens at Ruger's Pine Tree Casting Facility. Then they head out to Smith & Wesson's factory in Massachusetts, where they look at some old tools that were used to forge guns and how modern-day technology has shifted all that. And Ryan Gresham also gets a lesson on bladesmithing at Cinescape Studios from a true artisan. So check out Sportsman Channel year-round, and you can also just go to guntalk.com. You can go to youtube.com and check out Gun Talk TV. It has the entire family of Gun Talk stuff. So, Michelle.
Our names were on that list. We weren't going any of those places now that we did this show.
No, it should say, and next week, Jim and Michelle won't be going to Massachusetts to see.
I guess that's more obvious one.
There's probably a reason for that. Earlier in the show, we had put out to callers about what kind of guns, and in a 3-pack, you would have a rifle, a pistol, and a shotgun. Well, what are yours? What are your choices there, Miss Cleland?
What are my choices? Wow, I'm going to have to think on that for just a second. Do you have some of yours?
Don't hurt yourself.
I know. I think my go-to pistol right now is probably my little Ruger LCR and the 327, just because
heard of that.
I could probably go around the country and be able to get different ammunitions of such, should that be a necessity.
Sure.
Rifle, you can do just about anything with the 22. We're not talking about big game anything, so we're just talking about shooting and what would be fun. So plinking anywhere with the 22 it would be, I guess, optimal. And, I'm pretty partial to my Ithaca 20-gauge shotgun, so I'm going to have to stick with it.
Smile from ear to ear. I'm going to go again. This isn't for survival. This isn't for retail value. It isn't for anything else. It's just what you like. I'm going to start with my pistol because I can't decide. It's either the Kimber 10, GT10, or the GT20 SIG. I love them both. They're great guns. They're big. Yep. It's not a carry piece. Although I have carried it, I don't carry it anymore. Learned my lesson. And for rifle, I've got a old 44 Ruger carbine, which I keep begging Ruger to come out and reissue that because it's just a really cool gun. It's a great brush gun and pistol cartridge, but great little carbine. As far as shotgun, I guess I just kind of go towards the Mossberg 500 series, 600 series, because they work. Just a pump shotgun is going to work.
Right.
So you could use it for pretty much any situation. And those are my 3 faves.
And then I always have the 1911 45 that I could take. See, this is
just
the problem.
Little addendums. Yeah. How do you keep it to just those? But anyway, we've had a blast today and filling in for Tom. And if you like what you heard, let Tom know at tom@guntalk.com. If you didn't like what you heard, email billjones7529@gmail.com. And let them know that you weren't real thrilled. But the rest of you can contact Tom. We had a blast today, and Tom will be back with us next week. Take a second, look at your family, see what's going on there, because they are your number one priority.
Keep yourself trained. Keep them safe.
Trained. That's your responsibility to protect yourself first so you can be around to protect your family. So do the right thing. Thanks for listening to Michelle and Jim here on Gun Talk. Tom will be with us next week. You guys rock.